Hi everybody, this is Gayle. Welcome to my channel. Well, most of you know I have been going across Tennessee, doing a road trip, checking out small places of interest that might be compatible with social distancing. But part of that has been to support small businesses who are struggling right now because of the pandemic and the situation during the world. So today, on our very first small business spotlight, I am talking to Autumn Jackson, and she owns a car detailing business up in the extreme northeast corner of Tennessee. So, if you have ever been traveling or on a road trip and you have looked at your car once you got home and thought, oh, I've got to get this cleaned. Well, Miss Autumn over here, she can give us some tips and she can talk about what she does. But before we get started, this would be a great time for you to give me a like on the live stream or video if you're watching later, and subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so. And feel free, of course, to share it on social media because that helps us grow. And there's more people that can find out about auto detailing and taking care of their car or SUV from a pro right here. So, Autumn, tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you're doing and how you got started, and just we want to know it all. So, in the next hour, tell us everything you can.
Well, I guess my earliest memory of really wanting to get involved in detailing-ish vehicles specifically was being knee-high to a grasshopper. And my dad would let me and my siblings come out to the driveway and wash the car with him. And we traded vehicles around a lot. And when me and you spoke last week, Gail, I had mentioned that we traveled quite a bit because of his job. And so that was something that was really, really fun to be immersed into. I was making my parents happy. I was getting to spend time with my dad, and it kind of just evolved from there. And then I think the next thing that happened that made me go, oh, okay, this is actually really rewarding work was moving actually into this house almost 4 years ago now. And we didn't have hardly anything to bring with us. We didn't have furniture or anything. So we went to the thrift store, and we got a few furniture pieces that kind of went together. And me and my mom rented an upholstery cleaner from Food Lion. And I started doing the research on how to clean the upholstery with like a stiff brush and use the extractor. And we were able to clean it up really nice. We're still using the furniture now. And so little things that evolved from there. And if you see, I don't know if you can actually see here, that goat drawing back there is mine.
Oh, okay.
And if I can get my camera steady again, I might have just messed it up. But I tried to do art.
You're getting it. There you go.
I tried to do art, and that never really took off. It was something I was interested in, but it wasn't very rewarding. I was trying to do freelance work, and I realized
That's tough.
Even though people weren't coming to me saying I want what you have to offer, they were coming to me and saying, I want you to draw this specifically. And it was usually something that had already been drawn. And I felt like my work wasn't valued. And so, then the pandemic hit, and lost my job and was on unemployment. And I went, well, living with immunocompromised people, what are my options? A work from home job. And I spent 2+ plus years in credit card collections, and it was a vile industry. It killed a lot of the empathy that I had in my heart. And
I've heard that from people who have worked in the industry.
Yeah, and because you have to completely remove who you are as a person to be able to do that job. And I wanted to do something that I enjoyed doing, that was still rewarding because it felt like genuine work, and I was going to be making other people happy. And so my mom ended up getting a her own Bissell carpet cleaner, and I did my boyfriend's car, and then I started working a little bit on my car, and I was like, hey, I already have enough knowledge just from being interested in this and immersing myself into these online communities for years and being hands-on in the driveway with my dad and things like that. This is something that I could take to the next level and actually be able to make some money off of, and other people would be happy. I could be sanitizing vehicles in a time like this. I have to wear a mask anyways. And kind of let it take off from there. And, now I've had quite a few people that have been interested, including you.
Yay!
And I'm hoping it's something.
We are so excited that you're willing to look at my husband's pickup truck. Now, you may run screaming away when you see his truck, but, it's just so nice. And we've done road trips in it. We have hauled in it. We've had people in and out of it. We've put displays in it. So it really needs some detailing.
Yeah. I got a water broom for you guys specifically. That undercarriage.
Yay!
Yeah, but I'm really excited about that too.
You're going to do the undercarriage too?
Yes.
Okay. So you kind of do all parts of the vehicle. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so I'll do anything from, pressure washing the undercarriage to full exterior details of the vehicles, polishing, waxing. I can do engine bay cleaning, fully detail the engine bay and put dressing on it. As far as the car goes, I can get all the way down to removing the seats and taking out the carpet to get it absolutely as clean as possible. In really bad cases, like in my boyfriend's case, I haven't taken out the carpet because it's dry rotted. But in a newer vehicle, if I had come across what I did in that car, which was blood from it being a hunting vehicle, that carpet would have been completely taken out and pressure washed, and then sanitized and shampooed, and then put back in. So I can really access all facets of the vehicle and get them tidied up. There are some specialty things like one I've just come across, like dry ice blasting, where you need to go to professionals to have that done.
Different equipment.
Certain things like professional grade ceramic coatings. I'm not talking about like the ceramic coating spray you get at AutoZone. Like actual ceramic coatings, go to a professional. Don't just go to
I guess you need a body shop just about for that.
Yeah.
And for the black
because
too.
Yeah, because it really takes all sorts of equipment that just your average detailer at their house isn't going to have, like lifts and things like that for the vehicles.
But that makes sense. Now, I hope I warned you about this on the phone, but my husband's truck has this really large stain in it from where he was hauling things for the church. And one of the it was for a fundraiser, and one of the pancake bottles leaked. So we have this spot, and I did my best to get it out, but it's been a while, so it's not sticky anymore. But I don't even know how to tackle that. So I'm really glad that you're that you're willing to do this.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff comes down to like your products that only someone who's in business is really going to have, unless you're like the weekend warrior type, like steam cleaners and your like multiple horsepower extractors and things like that.
Sure. So if somebody watches this video later, what kind of auto detail tips would you have for like dealing with something like that or super heavy stains?
On your own?
Yeah, on your own.
Yeah, so there are multiple things you can do. One of the best things that you're going to find that works on the carpet in your vehicle without damaging it is an all-purpose cleaner. Really, any all-purpose cleaner. I love LA's Totally Awesome cleaner. You can get a 16-ounce bottle of it at the store for $1-2 usually, more expensive online. But I get that by the gallon and mix it 20-1 in a spray bottle. You can spray that onto a stain and take just a normal, like a hard bristle brush. You can even use a toothbrush and agitate the fibers and work it out. And then if you don't have any type of extractor, you can either blot it out and then go back and do the scrubbing process with either another round of cleaner and then hot water, or just hot water and then blot it out if you don't have an extractor. And then they also make a stain repellent that you can just buy in a little bottle and spray directly onto your carpet. You're not going to lose any softness on your carpet, but it's going to beat up and repel water. That way things can't soak into it after that. And that's actually one of the services I offer.
Yeah. Speaking of services, I'm going to share the screen here and pull up what you sent me about your prices, but also, you know, even more than that, what you do. So I was pretty impressed by what you do. I mean, here we've got everything from wiping down to the undercarriage that you talked about and the stain repellent. I really like the idea of the stain repellent right now about his spot in the seat of his car.
Yeah, that one, that's awesome for like anyone who's traveling a lot. Construction workers, busy moms especially are going to benefit the most from like a full interior detail and have everything sprayed down with that stain repellent, including misting your headliner. Now, never gonna soak the headliner because that's just glued on and that'll cause sagging, but I will mist the headliner. That way, if something gets onto it, you can usually just take a dry toothbrush and get it off yourself.
See, I would never have thought about using a toothbrush.
They're awesome products. I probably have some laying around because when we were cleaning up before this, I found a bottle of insulator wax laying around. So I probably have some detailing brushes somewhere.
All kinds of things that you do there. Yeah.
Yeah, but just any kind of stiff bristle brush. Of course, you don't want it to be so like a wire brush or anything that's going to tear, but just a stiff bristle brush can do wonders for a stain, because a lot of what a stain is just stuff sitting on top, and most people want to immediately go in with something wet and then it just pushes it into the fiber. So you can get a lot of it off with just a dry brush. You can get a lot of it off with just a dry brush before you ever have to introduce water into the equation.
Okay. That's great to know, because like I said, that would have been my go-to action right there, I think. Because when we first got it, I went through and I scraped off. The minute I saw, my heart just sank. So I went through and I scraped off all that I could and did not think to use the cleaner that you're talking about. So anyway, like I said, you may run and hide when you see it. But
well, I have an absolute arsenal of cleaning products and machines here, so we'll give it our best shot.
Well, thank you. And I just can't even imagine like where to start with a headliner. you know,
They're
and
kind of scary. They're kind of intimidating. Yeah. Actually, with the headliner, like I said, you can get as much off with the dry brush as possible, and even go in with a dry microfiber towel. That can do wonders for just a spot on a headliner. And then from there, you can barely saturate the toothbrush or whatever you're using with your diluted all-purpose cleaner and go in, but you really want to make sure it's dabbed off on the microfiber. You're not soaking that material. You're not soaking the glue underneath it. But a lot of it can be worked out. But with headliners, any wet spot is going to leave a wet ring, like a ring when it dries. So then you have to go in with an even like less dampened brush and buff it out. And that's something I would probably leave to a detailer who's done it. You know, unless you've done the research and you're really confident. That's headliners are one of those things that you should probably take to somebody.
Yeah.
if you don't want sagging in the future.
And when the first thing that you mentioned when you mentioned headliner just a few minutes ago is I remember picturing, thankfully I was in somebody else's vehicle and it was somebody else's kid who did this. But as a mom, I was just horrified. We were traveling. We were on a road trip. We were on vacation. And it was me and a girlfriend and our kids. And her son, because you know how it is with boys, her son is thirsty. And we had the cans of Coke sitting right between the kids. Well, he picks up the can and he drops it and it gets banged around. And she's in the front seat and she's saying, "Don't open that can." And he's like, "Oh, Mom." And sure enough, he pops it open and it sprays everywhere. And a large portion goes on the headliner. And see, we don't, I think that's something that we overlook. That's really going to be important to take to you. It was an interesting day.
Yeah.
But you get into this with kids.
And detailers especially will, if someone's not educated on how certain things in their car operates, and I don't mean machine wise, I mean like a lot of people don't realize that their headliner is just glued down. And so they don't realize it's not one like hard felt piece on the top of the vehicle. And so, you know, you'll get people that will bring you a vehicle and there's really, you know, you can do the best you can do on the headliner, but you know, it's probably going to be unglued and sagging in 6 months. And there are a lot of people that think we're wizards. when in reality
I saw the before and after photo.
That's why
you're pretty close to wizardry right there. I'm going to show that in just a second.
Yeah, that was rust on the carpet in the bed of that vehicle, or the hatch of that vehicle. I mean, I'm sorry.
I'm pulling it up here in just a second. You know, there's just so many specialty things that really need to go to a pro.
Yeah. And, you know, in a lot of cases, like with the headliners, there is so much you can do until it needs to be replaced.
Okay. And here we go with the photo that you sent. Now, tell me a little bit about this, because I see all the stuff on one side and then I see it pretty and clean on the other. So I see ground in dirt. I see stuff on top. I mean, obviously you vacuumed it and worked other magic to get it.
So
tell me how you did this.
So actually what you see right there on the left is all of those little black spots on the top of the carpet is black mold.
Ooh.
And that was caused the weather stripping on the inside of the door jamb had dry rotted. It wasn't, the first thing I had seen on that vehicle that was dry rotted. So that was completely normal to see there. So that was black mold from moisture that had gotten down into that corner of the door, like right at the door there.
Okay.
And then there was there was dried blood in the carpet. I think a lot of this
Sure.
like the brown that you see on the sides of the carpet on the before picture, a lot of that was old blood that the previous owner had already tried to get out, and they did as much as they could.
We're in East Tennessee, and that's
what
they do.
And fishing, yeah, it was a hunting and fishing vehicle. There were plenty of shells, empty shells pulled out of this vehicle, God. Just in the spare tire well, and but
on the carpet, you had to deal with the ground in dirt and the mold
and the stuff
on top and all those staining from the leak.
Yeah. So what I did in this case was I went in with my all-purpose cleaner, and a lot of the time you can use like an ozone box to kill a lot of the mold beforehand. I didn't have one. So just masked it up and went in with an all-purpose cleaner, got as much out as I could, and then trying to think of the product name.
That's okay.
It's an antibacterial carpet safe product. It'll pop back into my head once we're off here. You can dilute that and get it into the carpet. Of course, I extracted the all-purpose cleaner, and then go in with a drill brush. So just a brush head on a 20-volt impact drill. And get down into that carpet fiber. Like I said,
and see, that's something the average person is not going to think of to do.
Right. And like I said, this was the vehicle that that had things not been dry rotted to the extent they were. I probably would have taken the seats and carpet out. But you do what you can. So, then you just go in with the extractor, and then hot water and extract after that and make sure everything's completely dry. I go back in. I'll even get against the carpet and smell for mold. If just to be completely sure. That's maybe not the safest thing, but if I'm completely sure I've gotten it out and I'm just like, to be sure there's no mold smell.
Well, and mold is something
but I'm not gonna
really have to be careful about.
Especially black mold.
Second here, we've got 2 people in the chat, which we are glad you're here. We have got Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man the Hero, and we have Mel. So thank you all both for hanging out.
Hi, thank you.
And don't forget to give me a thumbs up, please, on the video. And definitely anybody that's not subscribed, please go ahead and do so. I think both of these gentlemen are regulars.
He's carrying my my car cleaning stuff now.
Okay. That's awesome. And Mel asked, what do you mean, wizard? And I think that was me that said that. And she's just a wizard at getting this done, at cleaning the car, making it all look really spiffy. And what you said about the mold impresses me as someone who has been hospitalized due to mold exposure. And that's something you really need a pro for.
Yeah.
I go to you for it. So
it can be really, really dangerous. My mother actually used to suffer from neurological episodes, wasn't able to drive, was just about bedridden because of mold toxicity in the house we were living in. And it was the type of mold, it was a form of penicillin, I think, but it was odorless. It's just like a white mold that was underneath like the floorboards and stuff, and caused mold toxicity. And once we moved out, she got better, but
and that's something that cars are susceptible to, I would imagine, because you go outside, it's a rainy day, you're bringing moisture in on your shoes, you go to the beach, you wash your feet off before getting into the car, but they're wet. Or, here in East Tennessee, you go to the mountains, you wade in a creek, you fall in, and you are all wet.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah,
counting
and
little
that's
leaks.
people. I mean, and people don't realize. I get a lot of people that say, there's just this smell in my car that I can't get out, and I don't know what it is. 9 times out of 10, that's gonna be putrid food or drinks in your carpet that have moldy things from, like in that case, the weather stripping being bad. Our vehicles get a lot of wear and tear from us. We inflict a lot of damage without even realizing it. I don't know, anyone who has black carpet in their vehicle will know the struggle of vacuuming their carpet and then driving to one place and it looking filthy. And that's,
I can imagine. I have this nice neutral gray, but I can just imagine black. Oh my stars.
I have black carpet in my vehicle, and it's a nightmare. That, and thank goodness mine doesn't have it. I have a GMC. A lot of GMCs have carpet in their wheel wells.
Well, I was just fixing to ask, what do you think the most common places are for dirt to hide?
Definitely carpeted wheel wells. Sometimes it's 30 minutes pressure washing one wheel well because of the carpet and how much dirt and mud they can soak up. It's insane. Another place that is just absolutely secretly filthy is underneath your seats. So many times you'll see like old French fries, like food remnants that fall back there, dirt that gets kicked up back there. A lot of the times you'll find, especially in vehicles that have been sitting, mouse nests in spare tire wells in the back, mouse nests in like around your AC motor behind the glove box.
Wow.
That can contribute to a lot of, people that are in their cars a lot. They'll experience like respiratory issues, and sometimes there's stuff in there that you can't see that's really taking a toll on your well-being.
And I was going to say, that's really scary to think about mice because of the diseases they carry.
Yeah.
Another reason to come and see you.
Yeah, and
my husband's truck's been sitting. Now I'm really nervous.
Well, if you haven't seen any little mouse turds laying around, I probably wouldn't worry about it. But I
have squirrels up under the hood.
I saw not my customer, but an instance of an older lady who was completely unaware she had mice, because to prevent too much moisture from getting into her vehicle, she would routinely pour baking soda onto her carpet and just leave it. Never vacuumed it out, never washed the carpets, just baking soda on baking soda, and it was caked. And so even after removing the carpet and taking a drill brush to it and pressure washing, when that person went in with the extractor, they were still pulling mouse feces out of the carpet. Insane.
I guess the baking soda was a good idea in theory.
In theory, yeah, but that's one of those things that's like you said, if you're tracking a lot of moisture into your car, like, oh, somebody fell in the river. If you're someone that's out and about, I would definitely suggest something like baking soda to if you're dealing with a lot of moisture, but that's something that you need to immediately vacuum up and then extract, even if you need to rent an extractor from like your grocery store or take it to a detailer. But yeah, it's a quick fix, but it's not something that I would recommend on daily basis use.
Gotcha. Now tell me about the process for evaluating a vehicle and starting it, what do you personally do when somebody says, here's my SUV, clean it?
Yeah,
Where do you
so
start?
with estimates, especially there are a lot of people that come to me and they're like, I really want you to do as much as you can, but I really am not looking to spend a lot of money. That's understandable. I've been there.
Especially
Usually,
now.
with an estimate, what's more important than even evaluating the vehicle myself is talking to the customer and figuring out exactly what they want.
And I'm bringing up your prices again now.
Yeah, and that's why I have some of these kind of categorized, like the wipe down, basic wash, and then add-ons. Those are separate. Those aren't like grouped in. There are those options for people that are just wanting, a little something here and there, and then they say, oh, well, I saw, this service on the other thing. Could that be thrown in for, however much labor you're going to be charging? Sure. Usually with people that are looking, and like 95% of the time, it's people that are like, I'm really not looking to break the bank, especially right now. I, make sure I know exactly what they're wanting. Oh, does your carpet just need a spot treatment? Is it filthy? Has it not been washed or vacuumed in years? What's going on? Are you super concerned with how the outside looks? Are you wanting just a basic wash? And kind of work with them, figure out exactly what they want, and then give them a time estimate with the typical labor service cost.
Okay. Now, do you go to people's homes? Do they bring the vehicle to you? Does it depend on what you're having done? How does that work?
Anytime I am detailing, it's going to be at my residence. I don't have the equipment to do excuse me. I don't have the equipment to do mobile detailing right now.
That makes sense.
Plus, with the interior, making sure it's has its dry time, plus the little things I like to finish, I like to go over once it's completely dry. It makes a lot more sense for it to be at my residence. Preferably, I would have a shop, but as far as the estimates go, I'll go anywhere to do an estimate. I do free estimates. As long as it's within a reasonable distance. If someone's like an hour away, I'll say, okay, can you meet me so and so? And I'll just, talk to them in person, evaluate the vehicle, see exactly what they need, go home, get the estimate written up and emailed. But yeah, I do the free estimates. Doesn't really matter where it's at, as long as I'm not running my car into the ground trying to get to you.
Sure.
It's usually fine.
Yeah. Now you're in the extreme Northeast Tennessee area up there around Mountain City. That's where your company is.
Yeah.
What is your most common problem that people bring their car detailing business to you to get taken care of?
Majority of my customers are moms, whose the interior of their vehicles absolutely filthy because they do not have the time to worry about what the kids are doing back there while they have their eyes on the road.
Sure.
So, a lot of the times it's moms really needing their interiors taken care of, everything sanitized, decontaminated, dusted, extracted, and then the stain repellent, and plenty of construction workers and laborers in this area who have tracked an excess amount of mud and dirt into their carpets. A lot of people also want to have their vehicles polished, waxed, etc. But with this being an area with a, sometimes rough climate, a lot of the times people's their clear coats peeling away in chunks, and that's a service that they're not able to have done. And that's why it's so important to protect and make sure your paint lasts in areas like this where there is snow and road salt and rocks. There are plenty of people that come in want to know if they can have their rock chips fixed on their paint. You can touch it up, but unless you're making sure from the get-go that your paint is regularly protected and corrected, you're gonna run into those issues like the clear coat coming off down the line if there's no UV protection.
And some companies just use better paint than others too.
That's true. That's true.
And the Express van camper, and we cannot keep this white paint. But then, I mean, we've got chunks coming off. But then we go down the road, and we see this whole line. It's like every Chevy Express white panel van has got chunks missing if it's more than a year old. It's crazy.
Body rust. They're horrible for body rust for some reason. That's one thing I definitely have noticed is Chevy paint, and especially the clear coat on Chevys, not made to last. And then you also, detailers are running into issues like on.
I will toss that in.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They're great vehicles in other ways. I will toss that in. I don't want to be too disparaging. It's just sorry in my driveway.
Not trying to crap on Chevys.
Right.
Yeah, no, they'll go as long as you keep up with them maintenance wise. They'll go usually for as long as you need them to go. But detailers are also running into other issues as far as like clear coat correction, polishing, and waxing goes. Vehicles like Teslas, very, very thin paint, and in a lot of cases, before they even leave the factory, the clear coat on them has oxidized. So there are people that are getting Teslas, and then the clear coat's oxidizing on them, and they go, well, can this be fixed? Detailer looks at it with a depth reader, which is how you measure how many millimeters of paint and clear coat you have. You can check it with a depth reader, and you go, this has, first of all, half the amount of clear coat on it that it should. I can't, the only way to fix this is wet sanding. I can't wet sand it now because we would have to remove all of the clear coat and then, you got to worry about getting into the paint and repainting. And so there are a lot of issues that you run into that are issues out of the factory.
So on the exterior of the vehicle, do you do some of the sanding you were just talking about and polishing up headlights? What kinds of things do you do to the exterior of the vehicle?
As far as wet sanding, like your clear coat goes, I don't have a depth reader. Depth readers are incredibly expensive. It's on my list of stuff to get. Not there yet, but that's one of those things that I would recommend to someone I know that's better equipped to do it than me. As far as headlight oxidation goes, I'll definitely wet sand a headlight and put a UV clear coat on top to give you, your permanent anti-fog headlights, or at least until that clear coat starts to go bad. But usually that's, until you're done using the vehicle. Until the vehicle's ran its course, they'll probably still be good. That's definitely a service I'm comfortable doing. But as far as paint correction goes, I have a number of different polishes and compounds that I use for different scenarios that you have. Like that clear coat will present, deeper scratches and swirls versus not many, that I'm comfortable doing.
I'm sorry about all this text messages and stuff. I'm sorry.
But as far as that goes, wet sanding a clear coat specifically is something I would refer to someone better equipped.
but you do a lot of stuff. And you mentioned the undercarriage cleaning. I know here in East Tennessee, we're not too bad on lots of snow and ice until you get up here to Mountain City, and that's what you got during
Yeah.
the snow.
And we're 30 minutes from the high country right here in northwestern North Carolina. And so many people travel through that area, and that terrain can be really, really rough on your vehicles, especially the people that are out here for kicks. Driving past the Appalachian Trail, going up to, Grandfather Mountain, want to go to the ski resort, and undercarriage cleaning is definitely one of those things that, I mean, in the winter, I clean my undercarriage once a week to once every 2 weeks, because just the salt getting kicked up from the road is what's going to contribute to all of your major body rust underneath that vehicle, typically. And also most rust on body panels, you'll see the very bottom edge of the car, like underneath the door, the paint start to rust and the body chip off. And that's caused from all that salt and road grime getting up and sitting up there, and the iron oxidizing and it rusting. And so it's really, really important, especially in an area where, even if it doesn't snow that much, the city's still gonna salt,
Sure.
just to be sure. And if you're taking your vehicle out a lot in the winter, that's something you really need to keep up with, especially if you don't want issues down the line, because there are plenty of people that want to sell their vehicle down the line and don't want the value to be depreciated because of undercarriage and body rust. I've seen people with their mufflers nearly hanging in half, rusted around the middle.
Well,
And
and that's the thing about rust is it hides.
Mhm.
And it's underneath the vehicle, and it's behind where you usually look.
Yeah.
So you don't know it's there.
And even if you use an iron remover on the vehicle, which is one of the things that was added on to what your husband's going to be having done this weekend.
Oh, it's this weekend?
Yes. Yeah. He's
A little detail.
scheduled to drop it off
Good.
Friday evening, whatever time he wants.
Awesome.
But the iron removal, that's definitely something that's equally as important, especially for your body paint and clear coat. Now, when you're driving, there's going to be little iron particulates that are flying up onto your vehicle from the road. You can just get an iron remover off of Amazon after you've washed your car. You can spray it on, and as it removes the iron, the spray goes on clear and then turns a very deep shade of purple as it removes the iron, and then you can literally just rinse it off. But just getting that iron particulate off of your clear coat, you'd be so surprised at how much comes off of just your car after you've driven it for a couple months. Just removing that can do wonders for your vehicle down the line, and really not increase the value, but make sure the value of your vehicle doesn't depreciate at a steadier rate.
How often, because part of this is you've got to get under the car and inspect, or like I do sometimes, I'll take my phone and I've got a selfie stick that has a light on it. So in my case, I have a leg problem, so I can't always get in and underneath the car. So I'll take it what I can and I'll scan it underneath with my selfie stick and phone. But how often would you suggest that somebody give their car a once over to see if it needs detail work done?
Once every 6 months, honestly. And I'm not talking like a full interior and exterior detail, but just like the basic, like wipe down and general like vacuuming and doing a good contact wash on your vehicle with a microfiber mitt. once every 6 months, or take it to the detailer and have the detailer do a good deep clean on it once a year. But as long as you're keeping up with the vehicle as you go, once every 6 months for a general, like a good deep once over, like really get in there with like the scrubby end of your vacuum attachment, and get that carpet and things like that. But if you're someone who's really, really busy, doesn't really have time to keep up with their vehicle, go get it fully detailed once a year.
Okay. And I was just wondering on just inspecting it as a layperson who doesn't really know anything much about the car, to look at the undercarriage and so forth, would you say 6 months on that for you to just go out and look at it, or annually?
Well, I guess it would depend on how your vehicle's doing, how old it is, the terrain, the kind of climate you live in, is really going to depend. Those factors really go into how often you need the undercarriage cleaning. Like I said, I'll probably do mine in the winter once a week, once every 2 weeks. Someone living in California, they probably need to spray off their undercarriage really good once or twice a year. But I would definitely recommend, like, if you're going to go to a detailer once every 6 months, have them do that iron removal and stuff every time, because that's going to do wonders for your vehicle.
And you've also kind of got me thinking, you've opened my eyes to the fact that you do more than I ever knew a detailer could do. Because I always thought of a detailer as going in and doing your basic wipe down and not removing seats and not looking at the wheel wells too much and not looking at the undercarriage. But now it got me thinking, I wonder if somebody who's looking at maybe at buying a used vehicle, I wonder if they need to bring it to you and say, take a look.
Yeah, well, I mean,
because you would spot gold long before I would.
Well, I'm telling you, I tell as many people as I can, if you're going to be selling your vehicle, don't trust any kind of automotive dealership. When you take it in and they say, "Oh, okay, we'll get you your trade-in price and our detailers will take care of it." Because what you're going to get as far as a boost in your trade-in value on a vehicle goes, you're going to get more of a boost in your trade-in value usually if your car's been fully detailed beforehand than you would if you took it in and then their detailers did it themselves. And usually the advance you get on that trade-in value is going to be more than what you pay for the detailer to do your vehicle. And like the foggy headlights, like the headlight restoration can add $100-$300 onto the trade-in value of your vehicle at some dealerships, depending on what exactly they're looking for as far as getting that vehicle back out in front of their building to sell.
Yeah, and they don't want to pay any more than they have to.
Exactly.
So, and you do take the hit. I noticed that when we were buying a car one day, the salesperson was all about, "Oh no, you don't have to do any of that. We'll take care of all of it, don't worry," and whatnot. And then the manager comes out. Because you got to always work your way up the echelon to get a car purchased. The manager comes out and he looks at it and he's like, "Oh, this is great. This is real good and clean." And so they go back and talk and they come back out and boom, there's an extra $500 that we got credit for.
Yeah.
I think we wouldn't have if the car hadn't been really clean.
And this could just be a detailer's pet peeve, but I advise people, if they're going to go to a dealership to get a vehicle and they say, "Oh, it's already been detailed," this might seem like a crazy person thing to do. take a toothbrush, just get in the driver's side floorboard carpet and take that toothbrush across the carpet around where the underneath where your feet would be resting at the brake pedal or gas pedal, and watch how much dirt comes up and how little they did to that vehicle to actually detail it, and how much money the person that sold it lost, even though they didn't do much to pretty it up either.
Right.
Getting your vehicle detailed before you go to sell it, even if it's on Facebook Marketplace, can seriously either save you money or put more money in your pocket.
Well, everybody, when they buy a car, nobody wants to go home and have to clean it.
Mm-hmm.
They want it clean. They want it ready to
Yeah.
go. They want it for their vacation, which is one of the more common reasons to purchase a new car is you're going to go travel in it.
Yeah.
They want it perfect.
They do, and nobody wants to buy a vehicle, even if it's not a new vehicle and it's just new to them. No one wants to buy a vehicle and then go, "Oh, I have to clean this now."
Right. It's like when you go to a yard sale and you look at something and you don't want to have to take it and run it through the dishwasher 4 or 5 times to get a coat of something off.
Yeah, unless you're me, and then you go down to the flea market just to look for things to fix.
Most of us don't do that.
Go look for things to clean for fun. My dad got some old loose tobacco tins that were used for pipes, and I walked in there yesterday and I was like, "Can I clean these? Can I clean these up, please?"
Value down. But yeah, you've always got to do some basic cleaning with yard sale stuff. But you know what I mean. You don't want to have to go in and buy something that you're going to spend hours cleaning. Cars are the same way.
Yeah, and I always tell people, you would have no idea I was a detailer if you looked in my vehicle. If you looked in my car right now, you wouldn't know.
Oh yeah, I've known people that have cleaned houses that have said their house is a total wreck because they're always cleaning somebody else's.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
it makes sense to me.
Well, I mean, when I'm detailing someone else's vehicle, I get, the reward of the customer being satisfied. When I clean my car, I'm like, "Oh, it's clean now."
Check
I
the
did
box.
it.
It's done. Check the box. I did my 6-month inspection.
Yeah, right. Mine's well overdue.
I can't tell you when my husband's truck's been done, but I can tell you I'm really glad you're tackling it.
I'm really, really excited to tackle it. Especially since I found out it was going to be nice and sunny this weekend, if that's still the forecast. But it said it was going to be like around the 70s. So I'm hoping that's the case. Get it to dry really quick.
Yeah. If you don't like the weather we're having here in Mountain City, drive down the road to the next community. It'll be different.
Yep. 10 minutes down the road, it'll change.
I've noticed a couple of times too with the temperature difference. Sometimes it's 10 degrees difference between here and Knoxville. So if you work out of town, you may have a little different situation. And it sounds like you might want to check that undercarriage a little bit more if you're driving a lot, especially in those winter months.
Yeah. Especially around here. But I know a detailer up in Canada, and with every single one of his details, even if it's just an interior, he goes over the undercarriage and sprays it out just because it's so absolutely important up there.
That makes sense to me. I've been up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've driven across to Alaska and stuff. And yeah, it's there. You're going to have to look at it more than every 6 months because of, weather concerns.
Yeah. I was in Maine the summer of, I think 2006, and it was very cold. It was very cold. I remember wanting to go out. The community we were staying in had an in-ground pool, and they told us it was heated. And my mother took me and my siblings out there one morning to take a swim in the heated pool, and it was about 40 degrees. And
Oh, yeah. I know you didn't stay in that pool long.
The top of the pool, it had been warming up a little, which is why 40 was okay in comparison to what it had been. And I remember some parts of the pool that were in the shade had ice, and my mom said, well, I guess they meant it was warmed by the sun.
I guess so. Okay, we've got about 4 minutes left to the hour here. What would you like people to know about you and getting in contact with you and setting it up to bring their vehicle to you?
Well, I do have some business cards here, which
Okay.
if you would like to take some of them when you guys are over.
Okay.
They look like this. And this has my, oops, sorry.
It's okay.
It'll focus. No, I don't think it's going to.
But
it has my my email and address and phone number on it. abnjackson@gmail.com is the email. So that's just A as an apple, B as in boy, N as in Nancy, Jackson @gmail. That would be the easiest way.
Okay, we can leave a comment down below after this airs, and that way people can get it too. We can pin that comment to the top.
Yeah, and then I also have my Instagram page, which is, Instagram. And I never remember the username.
Uh-oh.
It's Jackson Auto Detailing.
Okay. Good deal.
I could never remember if I was able to score Jacksons or not, and I was not. It was Jackson Auto Detailing on Instagram. And don't have many posts there, but that is a platform where people can get in contact with me. If they're someone who's not comfortable with calling or sharing their personal email, they can use their Instagram page.
Instagram. All right. I'm going to have to look you up because I'm going to have to follow you on Instagram.
Yeah, and I'll have to get you back because I don't think I know your Instagram.
Okay. That's Gayle Vlogs, GAYLEVLOGS. But I'll send it to you. Don't worry.
I actually already got you.
Oh, there you go. Thank you.
No problem.
All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for watching today. And again, if you have not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that. What are you waiting for? I'm going to have more travel videos and stuff coming out. So do hit that subscribe button and make sure, too, before you go, just take your little cursor down there and click like on the video. Give me a thumbs up. Okay. So I'm going to thank everybody for watching and come back and check this in just a little while. This will process and transfer from a live stream to a video with the same URL. So share it with your friends, especially if they're up here and they need detailing. Go see her. And Autumn, the JWW97 says, you did great, Autumn. I love you, and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, honey. That would be my boyfriend.
We're proud of her, too, I'll tell you. So thanks for being on, Autumn, and we will talk to you later.
Thank you so much for having me, Gayle. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Bye, everybody. And just a reminder, it's all about hashtag Be Bodacious. Don't let life or dirty cars get in the way of living. We'll see you on the next video. Bye, everybody.